Hi, welcome back. So in this video lesson, we'll learn about test analysis and the factors affecting level of detail of the documents, especially the test condition documentation that we create. So just to remind you, we are in the first chapter of our ISTQB Advanced Test Manager Certification course, and we are learning the second topic of our first chapter, test analysis and design. So let's get going. So let's understand the factors that affect level of detail of test conditions. So what are the factors? Some 10 factors that might affect. Let's try to understand what are those factors. First, the level of testing. Which level? Are you doing a component testing, or are you doing an acceptance test level or integration test? Based on that, you will fine tune your level of detail. Then the second one is detail and quality of your test basis. What is your test basis and to what level of detail the test basis is available, and what is the quality of the test basis. So if you have higher quality test basis and at a very detailed level, then if you wish, you can build much more detailed test condition documentation. If you don't have, you may not be in a position. Then the system software complexity also will determine what level of detail you will build your test conditions. So if the software is very complex, then it is worthwhile maybe to build much more detailed level test condition documentation. And also the fourth factor is the project and product risk. If the risk levels are higher, maybe more level of detail is needed. So the fifth point is the relationship between test basis, what is to be tested and how it is to be tested. And the sixth point is the type of software development life cycle that you are using. If it is an agile process, you will not have time, and it's more informal basis documentation will be created, so you will create a less level of detail. Whereas if you are really doing a waterfall kind of model, maybe you will do higher level detailed documentation. Then detail of other work products also can affect your level of detail of your test analysis activity. And then the skills and knowledge of test analysts. If the knowledge level of test analysts is very good, they know the software under test as well as about software testing, then they can do with little bit less level of detail of documentation, but they can do effective testing. But if the skill and knowledge of the test analyst is little less with both testing as well as the software under test, maybe it is worthwhile to create higher level detail of documentation. And then the maturity of your test process and also maturity of your organization also is one of the factors that can affect your level of detail. And then the 10th one is the stakeholder availability. If stakeholders are participating in this process, you will have one level of detail and otherwise a different level of detail. So what are the advantages of detailed test conditions? So with detail level test conditions, you will have better and more detailed monitoring and control, because you can build a very clear horizontal traceability between your test objectives, your test strategy, your test plan, and to the test conditions. So defect prevention can happen because you are doing a very detailed level activity that can work as a static testing for your test basis, and you can identify some defects upfront and prevent them. And if it better relates test products to stakeholders, and also it helps influence and direct the activities. So these are all advantages. While there are advantages, there are some disadvantages as well. To create a very deep level detail of documentation, then it is very time consuming. Then further it will be taking more time to maintain the document in case some change takes place. And also the level of formality needs more control. So these are the disadvantages. So they are both pros and cons for creating detailed test conditions. So detailed test conditions are appropriate when lightweight test design documentation methods are in use by reducing the need for further test documentation. So then when formal requirements or development work products are absent, we can also build the knowledge into test conditions because other documentation is not there. So you spend all the effort and build some knowledge into the test conditions so that that can be used as some good information for everyone to understand about the software as well as test the software. And also when the project is large scale and complex and it is a very high risk project, then being more thorough will help you. And less detailed test conditions are appropriate when the test basis can be related easily and directly to test design work products. In agile, simple kind of projects where all people are working together, then less detailed test conditions are appropriate, especially from a level of testing, component level of testing, then less detailed test conditions are appropriate. Less complex projects with simple kind of information, then it can be used. And acceptance testing is also, we can use less detailed kind of conditions. So you have understood now the level of detail that is needed as you perform your test analysis activity, the level of detail of documentation that you must produce. So now let us look at this question and try to answer that. So during the master test planning of a complex safety critical project, you need to decide how detailed the test conditions will need to be documented at all test levels. It is a complex safety critical project and you are the test manager and you have to decide what level of detail of test conditions you have to produce. So we have 5 statements below. In that, which 2 contributing factors below you think correctly identify an advantage and disadvantage of detailed test conditions for the specified test level. So each statement has one advantage as well as one disadvantage for developing detailed test conditions for our context, that is a safety critical project and it is a complex project. So keep that in mind and let's read it. The point number 1, conditions for user acceptance tests require less detail to accelerate the schedule. However, this may cause failures to be missed. Let's read again. Conditions for user acceptance test requires less detail to accelerate the schedule. That is an advantage. However, this may cause failures to be missed. That is not a disadvantage. So you have to, it's a safety critical system. So this is a wrong statement. Now 2, detailed test conditions at component level support code maintainability. However, the level of formality will impact the development time. So first one an advantage, second one a disadvantage. So what is that is telling? Detailed test conditions at component level supports code maintainability. Any component level detailed test conditions, how will they really support code maintainability? It is not a real advantage. So this is again a wrong statement. The third point is this project will require detailed test conditions at each level. Okay. However, if not monitored, this may impact time for further test development. This is a complex safety critical project, so it may require detailed test conditions at each test level. Agree or not? Because it is a safety critical complex project, at every test level much more detailed level test conditions are benefit to this project, but potential disadvantage is that if not monitored very well, it may impact time for further test development. So it is a potential right statement, you are right. Then the fourth point is good risk analysis at system level can directly influence the detail of test conditions, but it cannot help mitigate risk exposure. Good risk analysis at system level can directly influence the detail of test conditions, but it cannot help mitigate the risk exposure. So again, the first part is okay, but second part is absolutely not okay. So it is not right statement. So the fifth one is contributions from users in higher level test condition development can support the correct level of detail but may distract them from their normal routine. So if the higher level test conditions are developed by some good users who are knowledgeable, it can help, it can support the correct level of detail if good people are doing, but it may distract them from their normal routine. So it is a potential advantage as well as disadvantage. This is a right statement. So yes, you are right, it is true. So what is the thing that we have learned? So we understood that the factors that might affect the level of detail at which test conditions may be specified and the advantages and disadvantages for specifying test conditions at a detailed level. That's what we have learned. It's a little bit theoretical thing, but as a test manager, you have to understand the pros and cons and the factors that contribute to level of detail of documentation, and this is an important aspect as a test manager for you to understand about test analysis. Hope you have enjoyed this session. So learn and have fun.